Okay, so this is my first test with the 9mm body cap lens by Olympus. So what it is, I've got the camera set on 1/50th for the shutter. I've got the white balance locked to about 5,000 Kelvin. I think that's probably about right for the time of day and the light that I've got in. It is a little bit cloudy as well. Also, I've got max ISO set to 400. Now, because this lens is only f8, I'm not too sure if I really should have that like a bit higher on the max ISO. Although, you know, this is my first test, so I can get a proper gauge of how these things are reacting and how maybe these should be for, you know, for future shooting and stuff. I mean, obviously all this is all to play for at the moment, trying to work out the best settings for these things. Also, I'm using my Sennheiser ME64. I've got it slung under as well on a ladder shock mount, and I've got the Movo filter on it as well, just, you know, because it's very susceptible to any breeze, not even the lightest one. Like, you know, even lighter than a light breeze, this microphone will pick it up. Okay, so I've effectively got this in the condition that I think it ought to be, you know, as far as settings and whatnot are concerned. The other thing is, it's got two kind of like set focus points or focus marks or indents on the actual lens itself. One is for infinity, which does do infinity, and I'll cut away to some of that anyway, but it's got a mark just before that which is for a closer position, and that just happens to be really good for this position here. So what I'm going to do is just talk a little bit more, and then what I'll do, I'll then mount it on the tripod as well and try doing stuff on the tripod mounted like that. But just for now, before I go on the tripod, I'm just going to walk around with it a little bit. What I'm hoping for is, because this is a very wide lens, I mean it is fisheye, because it is a very wide lens, I'm hoping that the jello effect is going to be less noticeable as well when walking with it. Let me just put this in the other hand. So basically I'm absolutely full arm's length away here. So this will give me a proper idea as to if anything's going to be achievable with this particular field of view, with this, you know, obviously with this 9mm lens. Like I said, I've got a feeling it might not be that bad, to be honest, as far as being able to move with it, you know, is concerned. I'm not taking any care here whatsoever with me movements, so I'm not trying to walk like a ninja or anything like that, you know, to avoid any of the issues. Right, there's a police car behind me there is going through, so let's see how well that's rejecting, and I'll turn round. So there's the police car sound there. Let me turn back round. So that'll give me an idea as well anyway about the microphone. In fact, while I'm here, I'm just going to go into all this tree area here. Now what it is, this is like very dark under here. You would need to gain right up or use more sensitivity and stuff on a camera, so this will give me an idea of how this was. Anyways, yeah, I think that's enough now then for this handheld thing, and I'll shoot this way towards the sun as well. So as far as handheld's concerned, I think this will give me a really good idea. Again, don't know about the framing, I don't know where I need to position this, but all these things I will kind of pick up, you know, initially from this first test. So what I'm going to do now is flip over onto the tripod. Okay, so I'm over onto the tripod now, and everything is set exactly the same as what all the previous settings were. Now what it is, I've actually got this held on the tripod at the exact same distance that I normally would do with a full arm's length vlog. So this will give me an idea as to like the kind of framing I'm going to get here, and it may well even be possible to fit two people into this frame. I'm not entirely sure yet until I look back at it. I mean, what I am going to do, I'll do a separate video upload comparing the 9mm to the 15mm as well, only because I want to see if it's possible to go out with just these two lenses and do stuff with them, especially as far as kind of vloggy or interviewee kind of things are concerned as well. And also as well, although I've kind of bulked up a little bit for this system, because I've brought out the Lyra shock mount as well to put the microphone on. Now, although I've done that, everything broke down into my pockets. I mean, granted, I was wearing a jacket, but between the jacket and two pockets in my shorts, everything was packed in. The only thing I was carrying was the tripod. Now, I could possibly get around that if I was going to be doing stuff, maybe interviewing people or sitting down and having little chats with people and stuff like that. If I was going to do that, say at a table or something, I could probably get away without using the tripod. I could probably take out just one of them small little telescopic things, and by the time they're put underneath the pistol grip, it's kind of going to have extended it a fair bit anyway, so I'll get a fair bit of latitude for like vertical movement with them. And plus also, with it being a fisheye as well, you don't necessarily have to go as high as you probably would have to position the camera with, like, you know, a narrower field of view lens on it as well. And yet the sun's been kind of dipping in and out the clouds here as well as this has been going on. So that'll be give me a good indication as to how the camera is handling the difference in exposure as well. Now the other thing as well, I'm just going to walk off, not that I would do this like, you know, as a big deal, but I'm probably about 6 feet now away from the lens. I'm talking kind of like my usual projected self, because there's no noises to compete against at the moment. I'm not raising my voice too much. I'd say that's probably about 9 feet away from the lens. This is actually more of a test of what the microphone's going to be like once I've limited and then raised it up, just to see how that's going to react. And just for a laugh, I'll come a bit further off as well. I mean, let's see, that I must be getting closer to 20 feet away now, maybe something like that. Again, not that I would be doing this like on purpose, but there could be instances, you see, where I need to kind of like, you know, be further away from something. In that instance, obviously, I wouldn't be using such a wide lens. I'd go onto a little zoom. That 14 to 42 Panasonic zoom I've got is amazing. I mean, the other thing is, when you consider, I mean, this is the most expensive lens, but I still got this cheaper than what it should have been. So this was 75, the 15mm was 35, and the Panasonic variable 14 to 42, that was 45. So you're talking around 160 quid for all of them 3 lenses. Now, as far as being able to put together a budget system, you can't get much cheaper than that. And between the 3 lenses, I think I've got a lot of options covered, or a lot of potential scenarios covered with all that as well. Okay, so I think that'll probably sum it up. I'm just trying to think if again, because I've got to get used to this. This is the very first thing I've tried on it. I'm trying, you know, maybe there's a fair bit of latitude with how much width I can get close to the camera lens as well. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. In fact, if I get closer, right, at this distance here, which looks like I shouldn't fit in the frame, this would allow me, if I was handheld, this would allow me to hold it with like a bend in my arm as well. And having a little bend in your arm makes it a lot easier to kind of like hold the camera in that position for a while. I mean, keeping your arms straight out like this, regardless of how light the system is, you're still going to end up with like a bit of a strain, you know, fairly quickly. Whereas if you just give yourself a little slight bend in your arm there like that, it becomes a lot easier to hold it for like a period of time. So hopefully that distance there may not be too crazy. I mean, I'm obviously going to be all distorted and whatnot. I mean, the other thing as well, as this has been running through, I may have been testing to defisheye. I'm not entirely sure. I think Edius may have a defisheye function in it. Now, the only problem is I'm shooting 4K and stuff, so even though I'll produce, actually it's gone breezy there as well, just a note to myself to see how the microphone's reacting. Yeah, what it is, I think Edius may have a defisheye function in it. Now, the only problem is, because I'm shooting 4K, that defisheye function, even though I'll be maybe putting the output into 1080 or working in 1080 on the timeline, the defisheye function working on 4K uses up a ton of processing. So it depends. If I can put it into a low-res playback scenario to get real time, then it could be an option to do a lot of stuff with this lens, even like, you know, this close to it and stuff, and then defisheye in post. Anyway, yeah, that'll do it for this. And so what I'll do, I'll just round off by shooting some distance stuff, not dialogue. This is just purely going to be for picture. So right now I've got this on the detent, which is just after the infinity mark. So what I'm going to do, because like I say, that particular detent works like for really close stuff, what I'm going to do is just flip it over to the infinity mark and then shoot some distance on it. It won't be much, it'll just be to give me an idea of what its distance focus is going to be like.